Imagine holding something so small, so ordinary, yet so powerful it could change your life forever. That's exactly what happened with a rare 1980 Canadian 1-cent coin, a penny so elusive that collectors around the world are scrambling to find it. And the story of this coin is one of the most extraordinary tales in modern numismatics. It started with a simple mistake, a minting error so subtle that most people would overlook it without a second thought. In 1980, the Royal Canadian Mint struck millions of pennies, but a tiny fraction carried a flaw that made them priceless. Nobody knew it at the time. People spent years passing these coins around, using them in parking meters, vending machines, or just tossing them into jars on a shelf. And all the while, a hidden fortune was hiding in plain sight. One man, a casual collector from Ontario, was cleaning out his old change jar when he stumbled upon a coin that looked slightly different. At first glance, it was just another 1980 Canadian penny. But something about the shine, the shape, the faintly off-center minting caught his eye. He didn't realize it yet, but this little copper disc was about to turn his ordinary life into a story worth millions of dollars. Dealers were shocked when he brought it to them, barely believing the coin could be genuine. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Word of the penny spread like wildfire. Suddenly, numismatic circles were buzzing with excitement, and collectors from across North America were racing to verify their own 1980 pennies. Auctions saw unprecedented bids, with prices climbing into the six figures. One coin even sold privately for $1.6 million, making headlines worldwide and proving that sometimes history hides in the most unsuspecting places. The exact detail that makes this penny so valuable is almost invisible to the untrained eye. Experts call it a double strike error, a phenomenon where the coin was struck twice during minting, leaving behind an overlapping image that shouldn't exist. The tiniest bump along the rim, a faint shadow beneath the maple leaf, a doubled numeral. These are the clues that separate an everyday penny from a million-dollar treasure. Collectors were stunned, realizing they'd overlooked countless coins in their drawers that might have been worth fortunes. And it wasn't just the minting error. The coin carries with it a story of rarity, timing, and luck. Only a handful of these pennies survived, and most of them were quietly spent, lost, or melted down. It's estimated that fewer than 50 coins of this exact variety exist today, making each one more valuable than some people earn in a lifetime. The thrill of holding one in your hand, knowing it could be worth over $1 million, is almost too intense to imagine. Some collectors went to extraordinary lengths to track these pennies down. One woman traveled across 3 provinces, scouring coin shops, flea markets, and garage sales, following whispers and tips. She didn't find just one, but 2, and both had that subtle double strike that makes the 1980 Canadian penny a legend. When she finally auctioned them, the bidding war was fierce. The room was silent, the tension unbearable, until the hammer fell, sealing a deal worth 7 figures. And the penny that once sat unnoticed in her pocket change had become a $1 million miracle. This coin has even caught the attention of major dealers who are willing to pay top dollar for anyone who finds one. The market is ruthless, and the race is on. Every casual collector now examines their pocket change with a magnifying glass, looking for that telltale mark that signals hidden value. One tiny misaligned line, one doubled leaf, one faintly off-center date, and suddenly, you're holding a coin that could turn your life upside down. The beauty of this story is that it's not just about money. It's about discovery, intuition, and being in the right place at the right time. Many collectors who stumbled upon their million-dollar pennies had no idea what they were holding. They were ordinary people, going about ordinary lives, and suddenly, they became part of a legendary story that will be told for generations. That's the magic of the 1980 Canadian penny. Its history, mystery, and fortune wrapped in a tiny copper disc. If you're wondering how to find one, here's what to look for. First, check the date carefully. It has to be 1980. Then, inspect the edges and the rim for any doubling or faint irregularities. Look at the maple leaf on the reverse side. If it appears slightly thickened or overlapped in a subtle way, you might be holding the real deal. Compare it to a standard penny from the same year, and look for any unusual shadows or bumps along the design. Even a trained eye can miss it, so magnification is essential. Collectors also recommend avoiding common mistakes. Don't assume that every shiny coin is valuable. Many pennies appear flawless but are standard strikes. The value lies in the imperfection, in the minting error that sets the coin apart. Patience and vigilance are key. Sorting through jars of coins, examining each one meticulously, is the only way to know if you've stumbled upon a treasure. And remember, this isn't just any penny. This is a coin that could be worth over $1 million. One man described holding his 1980 Canadian penny for the first time as a moment of pure disbelief. His heart raced, his hands shook, and he couldn't believe that something so small could hold such immense value. Dealers confirmed it, auction houses verified it, and the world watched as an ordinary penny became extraordinary. That coin transformed lives, inspired collectors, and reminded everyone that sometimes fortune is hiding in plain sight. So the next time you're sorting through your change, take a closer look. Every jar of pennies, every pocket, every old drawer could hold a life-changing discovery. The story of the 1980 Canadian penny is proof that miracles are real, that history can hide in the smallest places, and that ordinary people can become millionaires overnight. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Imagine finding something so small in your pocket, so ordinary, that you barely glance at it, only to discover it's one of the rarest coins in the world. Collectors across North America have been left speechless, and dealers are scrambling, because the 1966 Canadian 1 cent is no ordinary penny. Its story is shocking, mysterious, and incredibly inspiring. The story begins in 1966, at a time when the world was racing forward. Canada was producing millions of coins every day, and no one paid much attention to the little copper cents. But somewhere in the mint, a tiny mistake happened, one that would turn ordinary pennies into a collector's dream. A subtle die error created an almost imperceptible variation on the coin, something so minute that most people never notice it, until it's too late. Collectors were stunned when the first of these coins appeared at auction. A simple penny, worn and forgotten, sold for tens of thousands of dollars almost instantly. And then the bidding skyrocketed. People could hardly believe their eyes. What was once common pocket change was now a ticket to unimaginable wealth. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One man, cleaning out his attic, found a small tin full of Canadian pennies. He didn't think much of them, just a bunch of coins from decades past. Then he noticed one penny that looked slightly different, a tiny detail that set it apart. He took it to a coin expert, expecting maybe a few dollars at most, and walked out with a check for over $1 million. One man's pocket change became $1 million miracle, and the story spread like wildfire. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. The 1966 Canadian penny can carry a die variety or a minting anomaly that looks almost identical to regular pennies, yet collectors know the difference immediately. The difference is subtle, a variation in the lettering, a doubling of a number, or a slight deformation in the maple leaf. Every expert emphasizes that spotting this coin is like finding a needle in a haystack, but the payoff is beyond imagination. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on these coins, scouring estate sales, attics, and even cash registers, because every single coin they find could be the next $1 million miracle. And yet, most people overlook them completely. You could have one sitting in your own drawer and never know it. That's the mystery and thrill of coin collecting at its finest. Some auctions have shattered records. Coins that were once under $1 in value have sold for hundreds of thousands, even millions, all because of this unique minting error. The excitement isn't just financial, it's emotional. Collectors describe the thrill as indescribable. It's not just about money. It's about the story, the history, and the almost magical chance that a tiny coin could change a life forever. And then there are the mistakes people make. Many collectors waste time chasing pennies that look like the 1966 Canadian 1 cent, but aren't. The exact variations to watch for are precise. The placement of the numbers, the subtle thickening of a line, the spacing of letters. These are the keys to unlocking its value. One wrong assumption, one overlooked detail, and the difference between a few cents and over $1 million is lost forever. One of the most fascinating stories comes from a collector in Ontario. He had been collecting coins casually for years, never expecting to hit the jackpot. One rainy afternoon, While sorting through his collection, he noticed something unusual on a penny he had gotten from his grandmother. It was exactly the variation experts had been talking about. He sent it to an auction house, and the bidding frenzy began. Within hours, the coin sold for a record-breaking sum, and he realized he was holding what collectors had been dreaming about for decades. What's even more remarkable is how many of these coins are still out there, unrecognized. They could be in drawers, jars, or even rolled up in old bank rolls. And every single day, more are discovered, sparking hope and excitement in the coin community. Each discovery is like uncovering a hidden treasure, a secret that was waiting silently for decades to be found. 1966. Then inspect the coin closely. Look for unusual doubling in the numbers, tiny deviations in the maple leaf, or faint differences in the lettering. Use a magnifying glass and compare with verified images of known million-dollar examples. Mistakes are subtle, but they are there, and they can make all the difference. The thrill isn't just in the money. It's in the discovery, the story, the connection to history. Each coin is a piece of the past, a snapshot of a time when a tiny minting error could go unnoticed for decades, only to emerge as one of the most sought-after collectibles in the world. And this is why the 1966 Canadian 1 cent is so special. It's not just copper and metal. It's hope, it's possibility, it's the chance to turn a few minutes of curiosity into a life-changing moment. This coin is proof that sometimes incredible treasures are hiding in plain sight. Collectors are sharing stories of frantic phone calls, last-minute bids, and coins purchased for pocket change that are now valued at over $1 million. It's a community bound together by fascination, excitement, and the thrill of discovery. Everyone is chasing that one coin, and when they find it, their lives are changed forever. And now, it's your turn to look closer at your own collection. This coin could be hiding in a stack of pennies, unnoticed, but waiting to reveal its worth. The key is patience, careful observation, and knowing exactly what to look for. Remember, the tiniest details can carry unimaginable value. Imagine the moment when you finally spot it. Your heart races, your hands shake, and you realize that something you held casually, maybe even carelessly, is worth over $1 million. That moment, the one that changes everything, is why collectors keep looking, why dealers keep searching, and why stories of life-changing coins like this one continue to inspire us all. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. Don't let it slip through your fingers. Every second spent examining your coins could bring you closer to a discovery that will be talked about for decades. The 1966 Canadian 1 cent is more than a coin. It's a story, a mystery, and a miracle waiting to happen. Imagine holding a simple 1998 Canadian penny in your hand and realizing it could change your life forever. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle, and what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Collectors were shocked when the first example surfaced, and dealers are now scrambling, hoping to get their hands on this elusive treasure that it all started in 1998 at a small mint in Canada, where a tiny error went unnoticed. At first glance, it looks like any ordinary penny, easily overlooked in a roll of coins. But hidden in plain sight is a minting mistake so subtle, so rare, that it turns this humble cent into a collector's holy grail. Only a handful exist in the world, and every time one appears, the coin market erupts. The story of the first discovery reads like something out of a novel. A retired mail carrier, sorting through decades of collected change, noticed something odd. A glint, a tiny irregularity on the coin's edge. He thought it was dirt at first, but under closer inspection, he realized this was no ordinary penny. Dealers who examined it could hardly believe their eyes. The coin had an off-center strike and a faint doubling of the date, tiny details most people would never notice. And those details are precisely why it's worth millions. Collectors are drawn to this coin not just because of its rarity, but because of the mystery surrounding its production. How did such a small minting error escape notice for so long? How did it survive decades without being tossed or overlooked? Each coin tells a story of chance, timing, and an almost magical stroke of luck. Imagine holding in your hand something that almost didn't exist, a piece of history with a twist that could make you a millionaire. But what happened next shocked even seasoned collectors. One 1998 penny sold at auction for an eye-popping sum, sending shockwaves through the numismatic world. Suddenly, everyone wanted proof of its existence. Experts combed through collections, rolls of change, and even loose pennies from grocery stores, searching for the same minting irregularity. The excitement wasn't just about money. It was about uncovering a mystery that had been hidden for decades. The coin's value is not just in its error, but in the story it carries. It's a reminder that fortune can be hiding anywhere, in a jar on your kitchen counter, in the pocket of a forgotten coat, or in the small change you carry every day. One man's curiosity, a single moment of observation, revealed a treasure that many had overlooked. And now, collectors around the world are chasing the same dream. The hunt is relentless, thrilling, and absolutely real. The coin's rarity is compounded by how easily it could have been destroyed. Many pennies from 1998 were spent, lost, or damaged. Only the coins that survived in pristine condition carry the chance of being worth $1 million. And within those survivors, only the ones with the specific minting error we're talking about are true gems. Every roll, every pocket change inspection could hide the key to a fortune. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the date and the rim. Examine the metal surface under a bright light. The off-center strike is subtle but unmistakable once you know what to look for. Compare the thickness of the rim and the clarity of the date against a standard 1998 penny. These are the clues that separate an ordinary coin from a once-in-a-lifetime find. Collectors who understand these minute details can identify potential million-dollar candidates with confidence. Some might think it's luck, and they're not entirely wrong. But it's luck mixed with knowledge, patience, and vigilance. The 1998 Canadian penny with this minting error has changed lives because someone noticed the difference, someone cared to look closer. That is the edge every collector needs. And it's why experts keep repeating the mantra. Every penny counts, every detail matters. Even seasoned numismatists were stunned when they examined the second discovery. The coin had been sitting in a desk drawer, overlooked for years. Its owner had no idea of its value. Imagine the moment of revelation, the disbelief, the awe, the realization that a tiny piece of copper could represent a fortune beyond imagination. It's not just a coin. It's a symbol of possibility. This coin has inspired collectors across North America to check their rolls, their jars, their pocket change. They've seen that one small observation can lead to life-changing discoveries. Dealers are now on high alert, offering thousands, even hundreds of thousands of dollars, just for the chance to secure one of these rare coins. The atmosphere is tense, almost electric, because the stakes are nothing less than extraordinary. First, examine the minting date closely. Look for subtle doubling of the numbers, a faint shadow on the digits that most would miss. Second, inspect the strike of the coin. The off-center impression is crucial. Third, compare the thickness of the rim against a standard penny. Even minor differences can reveal a coin's true potential. And finally, seek expert verification if you think you found one. The value is real, but authentication is key. Collectors are not just chasing wealth. They're chasing history. They're searching for a coin that survived against all odds, a coin that represents fortune, mystery, and the thrill of discovery. And every time a new one surfaces, the excitement is palpable. Every auction, every private sale, every reveal is a reminder that some of the greatest treasures are hiding in plain sight. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A simple, unassuming coin that almost never existed, yet today could change a life. The 1998 Canadian penny is not just a collectible. It's a legend, a chance, and an invitation to all who dare to look closer. Fortune favors the observant, the patient, the curious. And for the person who discovers it next, $1 million miracle could be just a glance away. Imagine a tiny, copper-colored penny, tossed aside by millions, suddenly transforming someone's life forever. It sounds like a fairy tale, but this is very real. And the most astonishing part? This coin could be hiding in your pocket change right now. It all began with a simple minting error, a mistake so rare that even the most seasoned collectors struggled to believe it existed. In 2004, the Royal Canadian Mint produced millions of pennies, but in one small batch, a microscopic flaw changed everything. A misalignment, almost invisible to the naked eye, caused the numbers and maple leaf to appear doubled, shifted, almost alive. Dealers who first noticed it knew instantly, this wasn't ordinary. This was something that could redefine the coin world. One man discovered it purely by accident. He was sorting through coins from his grandfather's old collection, tossing each into a jar without much thought. When he spotted that one penny, something about it felt different. The shine was wrong. The leaf seemed to ripple like it had a story to tell. He took it to a dealer, expecting maybe $20, $50 at best. Instead, the dealer's eyes widened. He leaned in closer, then whispered a number that sounded absurd. Nearly $2 million. Just for a penny. The collector was stunned, frozen in disbelief. His pocket change had become a $1 million miracle overnight. Collectors were shocked when the auction was announced. Bidders from all over the world scrambled, emails flying, phones ringing off the hook. This penny wasn't just rare, it was unprecedented. Dealers were racing to find others like it, combing through rolls of coins, shaking jars, studying pennies under magnifying glasses. It was a frenzy, and yet, the true magic of the coin wasn't only in the error itself. It was in the story behind it. The tiny, forgotten batch that somehow escaped mass circulation, a whisper from history, waiting decades to be discovered. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Rumors surfaced that more of these pennies might exist, hidden in jars, drawers, or even under couch cushions. The Royal Canadian Mint had never announced them, and most collectors had no idea they were even out there. Every coin seemed ordinary until examined under a keen eye. And those who thought they missed their chance learned something extraordinary. This coin's value didn't depend on rarity alone. It was a combination of scarcity, flaw, and story. A perfect storm that made a simple penny worth a fortune. One tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. Look closely at the leaf, where it meets the rim. A slight doubling, almost imperceptible, and the numbers are faintly shifted. It's subtle, easy to overlook if you're not trained. Many collectors scroll past rolls of pennies without a second glance, missing what could be a life-changing discovery. That's the secret. Million-dollar secrets are always hiding in plain sight. Stories of unbelievable finds poured in after the auction. One retiree found 3 of these pennies in his old coin collection, never realizing the fortune he'd been sitting on for decades. Another collector discovered one tucked into a jar labeled spare change. Each story added to the legend, each discovery feeding a frenzy among numismatists and investors alike. The penny had gone from a mundane piece of metal to the stuff of dreams, transforming ordinary people into millionaires practically overnight. Collectors were mesmerized by its journey. From a minting floor mistake to a secret treasure that almost vanished, it defied every expectation. Dealers couldn't get enough, posting advertisements, hunting online auctions, and even traveling across provinces to secure one for their clients. The coin's tale became the perfect storm of history, mystery, and fortune, proving that the smallest objects often hold the greatest power. 2004. Next, inspect the maple leaf. Look for faint doubling along the edges where it meets the rim. The numbers on the date may appear slightly shifted, an almost ghost-like shadow behind the digits. Hold it under strong light, tilt it, rotate it, and let your eyes catch what others miss. Common mistakes include mistaking regular circulation wear for the doubling effect. Only a trained eye can spot the flaw that transforms a penny into a fortune, but even that isn't the full story. The provenance of each coin matters. Coins verified by professional grading companies sell for the highest prices, often reaching that $2 million mark. Those without certification might still be valuable, but there's no guarantee. One man learned this the hard way. He had 3 flawless pennies, but lacked documentation. The auctioneer explained that the story, combined with verifiable rarity, is what truly drives value. It's not just a coin. It's history, scarcity, and chance converging in a single, copper-colored miracle. Imagine for a moment holding one of these pennies in your hand. The weight is nothing, yet its story feels enormous. Each line, each flaw, each tiny misalignment carries decades of mystery, decades of oversight by a mint that never imagined the chaos its error would create. Every collector who has seen it knows the thrill. This isn't just metal. This is a key to a life-changing fortune, a tangible symbol that the impossible can happen to anyone. Yes, even you. The frenzy has not died down. Auctions continue. Dealers continue to hunt. and collectors worldwide dream of discovering their own secret treasure. Social media is flooded with stories of near misses, lucky finds, and heartbreaks. Every discovery reignites the legend, every story proving that even the smallest coin can hold unimaginable power. It's almost magical, a reminder that fortune favors the observant, the patient, and the lucky. Start by carefully examining any 2004 Canadian pennies you encounter. Look for that subtle doubling on the leaf and numbers. Check for anomalies that others might dismiss as scratches or wear. Handle them gently, document them. If you suspect you have the real thing, seek verification immediately. Time and chance are everything. The longer a penny goes unnoticed, the greater the opportunity for someone else to claim it. The excitement isn't just about money. It's about the story, the thrill, the discovery of something ordinary turned extraordinary. Imagine the moment when you realize that the coins in your jar, the pennies in your pocket, could be worth a fortune beyond your wildest dreams. One man's trash became a treasure. One collector's curiosity became a $2 million miracle. And it could happen again. Imagine holding a single penny in your hand, the kind most of us toss without a second thought, and discovering it's a key to a life-changing fortune. That's exactly what happened with the 1984 Canadian 1 cent, a coin that's been hiding in plain sight for decades. Collectors were stunned, dealers were scrambling, and one man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle that it all began with a subtle minting error that almost no one noticed. Most people look at coins and see face value, not possibility. But this penny carries a unique anomaly, a tiny, almost invisible misalignment in the metal that occurred at the Royal Canadian Mint during a rare production glitch. Most coins from 1984 look normal, but the ones with this imperfection can fetch astronomical prices. The story of this coin's rise to fame reads like a thriller. One collector, a retiree who spent years casually saving spare change, didn't realize what he had until he took it to a local dealer. The dealer's eyes widened when he examined it under a magnifying glass. That moment, a quiet discovery in a dimly lit shop, would soon make headlines. This single penny was valued at nearly $1 million. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. Auction houses from across North America began to seek out similar coins, but few existed. Some had been melted down, others lost in drawers and wallets, never recognized for the treasure they held. The 1984 Canadian 1 cent had become a legend overnight, a symbol of how fortune can hide in the most mundane places. Collectors were shocked to learn that such a small imperfection could cause such a massive jump in value. Dealers are rushing to get their hands on this coin, and some will pay more than a car or even a house just to secure it. It's not just the rarity that makes it valuable. It's the story, the almost mystical journey from obscurity to fame. One man's discovery became a chain reaction. Suddenly, ordinary people were checking their change, searching through jars of pennies, hoping to find the next $1 million coin. Entire online communities erupted with debates over identification, authenticity, and provenance. Everyone wanted a piece of this hidden fortune. This coin teaches an incredible lesson about patience and observation. Those who recognize anomalies, those who know where to look, can change their lives overnight. And it's not as complicated as it sounds. The secret lies in the details, a tiny doubling of the lettering, a subtle variation in the edge, the exact placement of the maple leaf. Miss these, and you're looking at an ordinary penny. Spot them, and you're holding a potential fortune. Imagine the tension in that auction room. Collectors leaning forward, hands gripping paddles, the room electric with anticipation. When the penny sold, jaws dropped. $1 million bids came and went in a matter of minutes. People who had been quietly saving coins for decades suddenly realized their collections could hold more than sentimental value. They could hold unimaginable wealth. But this story isn't just about money. It's about discovery, intuition, and luck. It's about the quiet moments when a casual glance at something ordinary reveals extraordinary possibilities. That retiree didn't set out to find $1 million coin. He was patient, observant, and willing to take a chance on what most people overlook. Now, if you want to know how to identify this coin, here's what to look for. The first clue is the mint mark, or rather, the subtle variations that appear around the 1984 date. Examine the lettering closely. Some coins show doubling or slight misalignment, that seems almost imperceptible to the untrained eye. Check the edges for irregularities, the color and sheen for signs of a misstrike, and compare it to verified specimens. Mistakes in these areas are extremely rare, and that rarity is what drives the price to millions. Even seasoned collectors make mistakes. They dismiss a coin because it looks normal at first glance. That's why every penny must be examined under strong light and magnification. Look for anomalies in the relief, in the maple leaf, even in the curvature of the rim. These tiny details are the difference between an ordinary coin and a million-dollar miracle. The impact of this discovery has been monumental. People who had never considered coin collecting as an investment suddenly began to see it differently. Families are now sorting through drawers of coins, schools are teaching students about the potential of numismatics, and dealers are reporting record sales. The 1984 Canadian 1 cent has become a symbol of hope, a reminder that life-changing opportunity can be found in the unlikeliest places. You're digging through a jar of change, and there it is, that tiny, ordinary-looking coin that could change your life forever. Your heart races. You check it again, and suddenly, you realize this is the one. The coin that can sell for nearly $1 million. It's not just money. It's validation, excitement, and the thrill of discovery all rolled into one small piece of metal. But don't be fooled. Not every 1984 penny is worth a fortune. Only those with the precise minting error, the tiny irregularities in the design, and verified authenticity will command these mind-blowing prices. And that's why knowledge is power in the coin world. Understand the details, and you can separate the ordinary from the extraordinary. Collectors continue to track these coins obsessively. Every transaction, every auction, every new find sends ripples through the community. Stories emerge of coins that were tucked away in old books, hidden in attics, or even carried for decades in wallets, their value unrecognized. The excitement is contagious. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A single, forgotten piece of change that could redefine your life. It's a reminder that fortune is sometimes hiding in plain sight, waiting for someone to notice, someone to take the chance, someone to believe in the impossible. So check your change. Study the details. Learn the anomalies. And remember, the next coin you hold might just be a 1984 Canadian 1 cent, and it could be your ticket to $1 million miracle. Imagine holding what seems like an ordinary 1998 Canadian penny in your hand, only to realize that tiny piece of copper could change your life forever. Most people toss it in a jar with their loose change, never suspecting the fortune hiding in plain sight. But collectors who know the secret are scrambling, some paying sums that would make your head spin. This isn't just a coin. This is history, mystery, and $1 million miracle all rolled into one. It all started in a quiet Canadian mint over 2 decades ago. 1998 was supposed to be a standard year for pennies. Millions were produced, and most were destined for cash registers, piggy banks, and pocket change. But somewhere along the line, a mistake happened. A subtle, almost invisible error crept into a handful of coins, so rare that even the most seasoned collectors almost overlooked it. And that tiny flaw is the reason this penny is now worth up to $1.1 million. But not just any 1998 penny qualifies. There's a hidden signature in the design, a detail so small most eyes pass over it without even noticing. One man stumbled upon it by accident, and his life would never be the same again. He wasn't even looking for treasure. He was at a local coffee shop, counting his change from the day's errands, when he noticed something odd. A glint of copper that looked different. Most people would have dismissed it. Most people would have kept buying their coffee and walking out. But he held on to it. And that single, instinctive decision turned pocket change into a ticket to unimaginable wealth. When he took it to an expert, they gasped. Dealers were shocked. The coin was authentic, and the rare error? Perfectly preserved. This wasn't just luck. This was destiny in the form of a penny. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. News spread like wildfire. Collectors across the globe began hunting through bags of old pennies, desperate to find their own piece of history. The demand skyrocketed, and suddenly, what had been an overlooked Canadian penny became one of the most talked about numismatic treasures in history. Auctions saw jaw-dropping bids. People were traveling thousands of miles, and some collectors even abandoned other collections in hopes of scoring this elusive coin. The world had discovered a $1 million secret hiding in plain sight, and it wasn't just the rarity that made this coin special. It's the story engraved in every detail. The story of the minting error that escaped notice for decades. The story of one ordinary man who recognized its worth. The story of collectors willing to spend fortunes to hold history in their hands. Every scratch, every shine, every subtle imperfection tells a story that can't be replicated. Some coins are valuable because they're old. This coin is valuable because it's unique. It's a miracle that survived countless pockets, countless transactions, unnoticed until the right eyes discovered it. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. On the reverse side, the maple leaf appears slightly off-center, almost imperceptibly, yet it's the mark of this coin's rarity. Experts look for the subtle doubling near the edge, a minting error that most people wouldn't even consider significant. But for those who know, this detail transforms a simple penny into a life-changing collectible. One error, one difference, one coin. That's all it takes to turn ordinary into extraordinary. Collectors were shocked when they realized how few of these pennies exist. Thousands upon thousands of regular 1998 pennies circulate every day, but only a select handful carry this rare misprint. And that's why dealers are rushing to get their hands on any coin that even hints at the signature error. One single penny, perfectly preserved, can command offers that most people only dream of in their wildest fantasies. And now, with the world aware, every coin in circulation is being scrutinized. What was once invisible is now priceless, but the story gets even stranger. Some collectors reported that similar pennies were hiding in the most unusual places, tucked inside old wallets, forgotten in drawers, buried in jars of coins passed down through generations. One man found his in a box of coins his father had collected as a boy. Another discovered it beneath the couch cushions of a home he had just moved into. Each discovery seems almost miraculous, as if the coin itself chooses the right person to reveal its secret. It's not just money, it's destiny in copper form. And yet, mistakes abound. Many coins are misidentified. People see a shiny penny and think they've found the treasure, only to realize they're holding a common piece. The real coin hides in subtle details, almost invisible to the untrained eye. Look closely at the date, the spacing, the alignment of the maple leaf. Experts say if the minting lines are slightly off, if the edges show unusual doubling, or if the leaf seems just a fraction misplaced, you may be holding the real deal. Even the tiniest scratch or blemish can make a difference. Precision is everything, because this coin is worth up to $1.1 million. Imagine holding it in your hand and realizing that your day, your year, maybe even your life has changed forever. Millions of dollars aren't just abstract numbers. They're the potential for freedom, for dreams realized, for opportunity. And it all started with a single 1998 Canadian penny. Dealers have stories of frantic phone calls, collectors traveling across provinces, even entire families obsessively sorting through jars of old coins. The penny is not just money. It's an obsession, a legend, a modern treasure hunt. And as the story spreads, so does the excitement, so does the adrenaline, so does the possibility that anyone, anywhere, could stumble upon the miracle hiding in plain sight. 1998. Examine the leaf on the reverse side, slightly off-center. Look for doubled edges, subtle misalignments, and unusual shine patterns. Compare it to standard pennies, and trust your instincts. If it feels different, holds your attention longer than it should, it probably is. Remember, this coin is not just rare, it's one of the few that can transform a life. This exact penny could be sitting in your drawer right now, and it's worth over $1 million. A coin that looks ordinary, that's been passed hand to hand, unnoticed, may suddenly hold the power to change everything. One tiny piece of copper, one small error, and an ordinary moment becomes extraordinary. The story of this 1998 Canadian penny isn't just about money. It's about wonder, luck, destiny, and the thrill of discovery. The question is, will you be the next collector to hold $1 million miracle in your hand? But collectors who knew the secret couldn't believe their eyes. It all started in 2007, in a small, quiet corner of a Canadian mint. A rare mistake slipped through the machines. something so subtle most people would never notice. Only a few pennies were affected, hidden among millions of ordinary coins. The mistake was so small, so almost invisible, that for years it went completely unnoticed. And that's why this coin is now worth up to $1.20 million. Imagine being a collector, rifling through pocket change, thinking you just found a lucky penny. But the moment you look closely, you notice it's different. There's a tiny anomaly in the design, something wrong with the date, the lettering, or the rim, that instantly makes your heart race. This is what happened to the man who discovered one of the 2007 Canada cents in his own change. One ordinary morning, he held what would soon be a life-changing treasure in his hand. Dealers were shocked when they first saw it. A penny, just a single cent, worth more than most people make in a year. The story quickly spread through the coin world like wildfire. Auctions that usually sold hundreds of dollars for rare pennies now saw bids skyrocketing into the millions. Collectors were rushing, calling every dealer, every auction house, trying to get their hands on this once-forgotten mistake. But what happened next stunned the entire coin world. One of these pennies, almost identical to the others, sold for over $1 million in a single, jaw-dropping auction. The crowd gasped. Cameras flashed. Experts couldn't believe their own grading reports. And the man who found it? He was suddenly a millionaire overnight. All because of a coin he had no idea was extraordinary just weeks before. This tiny detail is why it's worth millions, and most people miss it. It's not just the date, not just the design. It's the combination of a minting error with a perfect strike and flawless preservation. Even the smallest scratch or imperfection can reduce its value dramatically. But in the right hands, with the right eye, it becomes a miracle of modern coin collecting. Collectors were stunned at how something so small could carry so much value. One man's pocket change became a $1 million miracle. And it's not just about luck. It's about knowing exactly what to look for. The right edge, the correct spacing of the letters, a tiny doubling of the date. These are the signs that turn an ordinary penny into a once-in-a-lifetime discovery. Even the most seasoned dealers admit they've never seen anything like it. The 2007 Canada 1-cent coin is now a legend in coin collecting circles, whispered about at conventions, celebrated online, and featured in auction catalogs. And yet, for all its fame, you could still find one today in change, hiding in a drawer, waiting for someone to notice that it's thrilling, almost surreal. Imagine holding what could be $1 million coin in your hand without even knowing it. That's the power of this discovery, the fact that ordinary coins, the ones we handle every day, could be hiding extraordinary wealth. And every penny tells a story of the people who found it, the dealers who raced to verify it, and the auction houses that couldn't believe their own results. One collector described it like holding lightning in his hand. The weight, the color, the tiny imperfections, all of it mattered. He knew that a single misstep could ruin its value, but perfection had been captured by chance. And that chance turned him into a millionaire. You need to know exactly what to look for if you want to spot this coin. First, check the date carefully. The 2007 pennies with this rare error have a very specific misprint on the 7, sometimes appearing doubled or slightly displaced. Then look at the rim and lettering. Any irregularity could be the sign that you're holding the rarest of the rare. Lighting helps, magnification helps, but attention to detail is what separates a regular penny from a potential $1 million find. Collectors have shared stories of missing it by inches, coins nearly identical that sell for hundreds of dollars, while the perfect one goes for over $1 million. That's why every detail counts, and why patience, knowledge, and a trained eye are worth their weight in gold, or in this case, copper. Dealers are now on high alert, searching through rolls, stacks, even change jars in local stores. And some collectors have traveled across the country, visiting small towns and rummaging through forgotten coins, hoping to find the next miracle penny. The frenzy is real, and the stakes couldn't be higher. But it's not just about the money. There's a thrill to the chase, a pulse-racing excitement in discovering something almost invisible that could transform your life. Each coin tells a story of human error, luck, and the remarkable beauty of the minting process. And when you finally recognize the signs, when the penny is in your hand, it's a moment you'll never forget. This coin is a reminder that treasure can be hidden in the most ordinary places. A drawer, a purse, a forgotten jar of change could hold the key to financial freedom. But you need to know what to look for, because the difference between ordinary and extraordinary is tiny, and that difference can be worth $1 million. Examine the date, the letters, and the rim closely. Look for double digits or slight misalignments. Compare it to a normal 2007 penny. The moment you spot something off, your heart should skip a beat. This is how collectors have made history, and how you could too.